2 of the Success Summit. Good morning, my name is Monica Kretschmer and I'm the founder and CEO of the Universal Women's Network and Women of Inspiration Awards. And we are ready for another amazing day of extraordinary leaders sharing their wisdom, their strategies, how to overcome what we're going through with the pandemic and to rebuild, relaunch, and recover. Now, day one was full, and I want to say that for those of you that have been watching this, I commend you on taking the time in your day to squeeze in the materials. There was so much. I probably put about 3 days into one day, but we wanted to make sure that you had a lot of value. So just know that if you've missed a little bit of yesterday for any reason, and I know that business must go on, we have a replay. So breathe easy. Even when you schedule your day today, I just want to mark a couple really important things. I just announced yesterday that we have a very special guest, one of my mentors, billionaire success story. So how many times have you been able to hear how they do it? The mindset of a billionaire. Imagine that. So stay tuned at 2 o'clock Mountain Standard Time for the interview with our billionaire success story. Also, our keynote, Unstoppable Tracy will be delivering her keynote, Disarming Limiting Beliefs. She is incredible. I'm so proud to have her in our network, and she'll be delivering an extraordinary keynote at 2:20 today. So you'll want to be back for that. Now, we are inviting all of our pass holders to join our roundtable discussion with our leaders. We have 20 leaders from across Canada that are part of our roundtable. So we're offering the opportunity for pass holders to be a part of the roundtable. Now, you won't get a seat at the table, but you will have an opportunity to use your chat box if there are questions that you want us to bring forward to the table to answer. So make sure that you are there. That is a special link. If you're a pass holder, you will have received that link as a separate email. The webinar is actually done at 3 o'clock today. So we're looking forward to a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. And I encourage you to write down the learnings of today. Each speaker has so much knowledge to share, and write down, I know it's going to be so easy, write as many as you possibly can, and start taking action. Pick at least one thing, just one thing that you can put into action. And I wish you so much success. So today we're going to get started. Today in the meeting room with me, I know she's there, Siobhan Calderbank is Woman of Inspiration 2019. I'd like to welcome Siobhan Calderbank to the stage at the Success Summit. And I think she's just getting ready here. Now, while we're waiting for Siobhan to take the stage, she is an experienced director of talent management at the LCBO and focuses on talent management, learning, change management, and diversity and inclusion. She is a keynote speaker, recognized learning leader, consultant, and an award-winning author, and spoken internationally to diverse groups, to thousands of people from over 70 countries. And you've motivated, Siobhan, the work and make it happen collaboratively. I love the words collaborative, diversity, inclusiveness. Those are amazing. You're also the founder of Butterfly Ladies. We'll get you to talk a little bit about that. Okay. A mentoring program committed to helping develop the careers of women and youth, and especially the visible minorities. So welcome, Siobhan. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the Success Summit opening up today. I'm so glad. Now, I have to give you background. All of our speakers have been, even though our laser times here that we've had the opportunity to spend with each and every leader, 20 minutes out of a day when we're just trying to revamp and rebuild, right. Post-pandemic seems almost like impossible sometimes. So thank you for making the time today to join us. So how are you?
I am great. I am so enthusiastic to be here today. I was looking forward to this. I like to tell people, look, I got to go. I have another meeting, really important thing to talk about today.
So one thing I want to start off with, right now, we can't turn on the news. We can't enter into conversation without talking about the Black Lives Movement.
Right.
And Black Lives Matter. And I know that we had talked about it on our call, our National
Mhm.
Ambassadors call, just recently. And what was so amazing, Siobhan, is that I I just want you to go back and what you shared in our meeting that day, because I asked, I would love to know from a Black woman, how has your experience been? You know, is it the same? Is it different? You know, we don't hear it. You know, you don't speak about it. So I want to provide you the platform to speak about it because we all need to help support. We all need to make that our responsibility.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Last week was a very emotional week with all that's been happening and raising that awareness in the organization. And I was just like bawling in the session. But when I was speaking to my peers about, how I was feeling, and it's a very emotional topic because people in the organization and people like yourselves who know me see me in a different way. You may see me as someone who's professional, someone who is educated, someone who adds value when we're having conversations and dialogue, especially as it pertains to change management and human resources and learning. But outside of what I call like that bubble, when I leave and I'm like just walking on the street or in a mall or driving a car, people don't see that. They just see like a Black woman. And what does that mean to them? It means a whole bunch of different things depending on what their experiences have been. So for me, sometimes I feel there's a pressure almost of feeling like I'm representing all Black women and all encounters, because if the encounter is bad with me, then they may translate that to others. But more so from what I experience outside of that bubble, so to speak. So I'll give you a few examples, as had mentioned to you before. When I am going to the mall, I mean, I'm dressed up. Most people have hardly ever seen me in a pair of sneakers, much less. And they're still following me in the store. There's nobody there. They're just following me around. Or even if there's a lot of people there, they're still following us. But why? Right? I don't understand. And that bothers me. Another one may be the most recent episode was driving a car in the HOV lanes where we have multiple passengers. And I had my kids in the back of the car and I got pulled over by the police. And I'm going, okay, like why? Yeah, and they realize there's three people in the car, so we're totally fine. I'm not speeding, but yet he's still asking me for my driver's license and my registration. And I can't fathom why, but I don't want to say, like, why are you doing this? Because I'm afraid. And I have to stay strong because I have my kids in the back. And if I and they're crying. So my son is like, tears are coming down his eyes, and I'm telling him everything's fine, everything's going to be okay. But that's a very different lived experience for most people, because when they get pulled over by the cops, they're just like what? Okay, fine, here's my license, whatever. And they're not worried. But
I cry.
for
I cry.
yeah.
I
Oh,
cry. I get pulled over. I'm crying. Just saying.
but you're crying because you're upset that you got pulled over, not in fear that your life might be on the line, right? There's a different type of crying that's happening there. And so, you're trying to be strong for your kids when you're afraid yourself. And so we learn, probably from a younger age, as soon as you get a driver's license, if you ever get pulled over, keep your hands at like 10 and 2 so that the police can see your hands at all times, especially for the Black males, as opposed to even me as a Black female. Now, I feel probably a bit less fair than, say, my brother or my cousins or my dad, but there's still a fear that happens there, and it's psychologically, I couldn't even drive after that encounter. I just like sit there for a good 15 minutes to compose myself and tell the kids it's going to be okay, everything's fine, everything's good. But I was a wreck afterwards. So there's a lot of sheltering and a lot of like awful experiences that people don't realize, and you almost sometimes feel like you're playing two roles: the one that everybody sees at work that's professional and it's great, and then the one that's outside of work that people don't know you. And how I come across, I'm very cognizant and unaware of that, because I don't want to represent myself in a bad way, in a bad light that may impact others. Like, I was stopped in the bank in the parking lot by somebody. He was there with his son and he was like, well, how do you afford that car? And to me, that was just like crazy talk. Why are you even asking me that question? Like, it's coming out of nowhere.
It's coming out of nowhere. I'm going to step in that it's coming out of nowhere.
are
And
hearing me. Yeah.
we just lost about the past sentence just when he said it's coming out of nowhere. And for some reason, the line
Ugh.
stopped there. So if you can pick up what your thought, it's coming out of nowhere, and just pick up from there, that'd be great.
Thanks. So yeah, it was coming out of nowhere asking me, how did I afford this car? And like he likes the car, but how did I possibly afford it? Like, would you ask that to anybody in this in a parking lot? It's so random. But he was with his son who was about maybe 10, and my first instinct was I was angry and I wanted to lash back, but then I don't want to be looked at as the angry Black woman. So I have to calmly say, like, I have a job, I work really hard, and I don't owe you an explanation, but I bought the car myself, because he's implying someone else must have bought it for me. So it's just like these microaggressions that people say, things not realizing, it's very, very distressing. And it does impact the way that you behave and the way you see things and experience it in life.
So, firstly, I can't even imagine with how you felt. I mean, you're pulled over and your kids in the back, like crying. I mean, it's scary for them to see an officer and a mom. They automatically think, Mom, you're in trouble.
Yes.
What is going on in their heads? I mean, I thank you for sharing, because it is something that happens on a daily basis. We're hearing more and more of, and I had no idea the impact. And like you said, 15 minutes to compose yourself, just to drive off, and your kids are kind of like, well, Mom, what's going on? Why you? Why are they singling you out?
Yeah.
And from a young age, how does that affect them?
It affects them quite traumatically, more so my son than my daughter. My son is like 12 years old, and he's already unfortunately had to experience several instances of racist behavior from one kid asking him, they're telling him, oh, you smell like cocaine, or you smell like sweat of slavery, which is like unbelievable. And like nobody should have to endure that type of talk. I don't even know where that came from, much less. But for him, that's very traumatizing. He couldn't even talk. He came home and I knew something was off because he was just so quiet. And once we unpacked that, then we had to have the dialogue with the school and with the kids. But, just experiencing that in the back of your mind, trying to figure out, well, why would somebody say something like this to me? And why, like, why are we talking about slavery when it's 2020? Like, for goodness sakes. So that this happened this year, and that was really hard for him. And even and previous to that, he had another girl who said, like, I don't really like you because you're tanned. And so you're not liking someone because of their character or because something they said or did. It's for something that's out of their control. And so that's really hard. And like my daughter is 7 and she's got beautiful hair, like tons and tons of hair. And she's like, she feels weird going to school because her hair, she has so much hair and everybody else doesn't. And these, like, again, people make comments about why is your hair so big, and these microaggressions instead of saying like your hair is beautiful and it's
Beautiful.
different. So things like that, it has an impact on them and how they deem the society rules and how they feel that they should look. So even to get a haircut, my son's afraid to get a haircut that's too low, or my daughter's afraid to have her hair too natural and wants it to be more straight. Like it, I have my hair straight just because if it was easier to manage. But if I had as much hair as she did, I would probably wear it out more natural. So her hair is beautiful. So this is just these little things that people say, it does impact. We don't necessarily come out and say like stop it or why are you saying that, but it's plays in the back of your mind of feeling that you need to conform or be a certain way and then feeling less than because you're not accepted for who you are as a whole. And that's the hardest part.
Mm. I think that's so important. I think that, I've been seeing the media used in a really great way where it's showing they're having kids. So, asking questions and the difference between, babies, one's Black and one's white. And really, there's no difference to them. But when you
Right.
start asking them, and I was like horrified to be watching this where, they're asking, okay, so which one's pretty? And they point to the little white baby. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because their eyes are blue. And I'm like, okay, that cuts us both out, by the way. Just saying. But, you know, and then I'm like, so which one's bad? And they point to the little black baby. And, you know, shocking. And we're talking kids that are, you know, they really have they're innocence. They're innocent unless
Mhm.
programmed, until they're
Yep.
programmed. So we have to be so careful how we talk. I know my son, his best friend, his BFF is black, but they don't see color. They don't see color.
No, it's beautiful. They see the person,
Oh
and I
my
think
God,
we need
it is.
more of
It's
that.
beautiful. And I'm just like, I know you have a lifelong friend. And his mom and I are like BFFs. You know,
Mhm.
I don't see color. He doesn't see color. And that is the way I just, you know, it makes me very sad. And I just didn't want to I wanted to start with that conversation this morning.
Mhm.
And I
Thank
wanted
you.
to share how really important it is. Now, I want to ask, and I want to dive a little bit deeper into this, but how much harder is it for a Black woman to succeed?
I think it's significantly harder for a Black woman to succeed because it's not just being Black, it's also being Black and a woman. So as a woman, just even on its own, like you already know the stats, like we get paid significantly less than a man does, and a Black woman gets paid even less than, say, a white woman. So there is stats to show that too. And so it is a bit more of a challenge in that respect when you look at all the numbers. I have not personally faced that too much. I don't even think about it when I go into work or go into a job. I'm going with, this is what I've done, this is what I've accomplished. And if I'm the best candidate based on my education and my experience, then you should compensate me accordingly. And I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of managers and leaders who have recognized that, and being in HR, you can also see what people others are getting paid proportionately. And I know that I've been within the band, so I haven't experienced it personally, but I do know others who have, and that's a really tough thing to be at. Even if you just look at from a woman to a man, like, why are we getting paid less? And what I've realized is oftentimes is because we're not speaking up. Like, my husband was having a conversation with one of his employees who put in like a, a request that he wanted like an extra 15% bonus because they closed a deal, and he demanded it. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we do that? Because women inherently don't ask, and as a result, this is why men ask, and they're like, well, if I didn't get it, but at least I asked. But you're not going to get it if you don't ask. So they kind of operate on a bit of a different playing field than we do, because we feel that if we did a good job, you should recognize it and you should give it to us. And then culturally, we're also different women from different backgrounds will not speak up because they also feel that that's I shouldn't do that. If I did a good job, I'll be recognized, and they'll tell me, and they'll reward me accordingly. Whereas I find in the North American culture more so is people speak up, and they always want to say, look, I did this, and this and this and this too, right? Just so you know, right? Give me a star, so that they keep it front of mind, so when promotion time comes, they'll get that. But a lot of other cultures don't do that, and we have to, and so there's some level setting that needs to happen there. We need to be more aware of, just because someone doesn't speak up doesn't mean that they're not doing good work, right? We have to help and coach them too to speak up more, but we also need to take a step back and recognize that others are too need to be recognized and should be paid fairly for the same work that they're doing. And that was something that was like very, very apparent to me, that men do fight more for what they want, and as a result they get more, and then again we have this disparity that keeps happening.
So, is everybody making notes? Ask, just ask. And
Yep.
that's simple as it is. And I know I myself have been through situations like that. And you almost have to build a case, as
Yeah.
it is. Like, you have to build a whole case why you deserve more.
Yes.
Just to be at the same level, and it's disgusting. I just, I have no tolerance for that. And I have to tell you that I hear stories. I mean, I've had conversations even this week, already this week, where we're, in confidence, where I've heard from women who are just distraught over being marginalized. And, it's not enough. We have to stick together. We have to have these conversations. We have to encourage others just to step up for, you know, using their voice. And equal pay, it's not that hard. Like this, we're not asking for the world, but if you were doing a great job, just ask. And I love that. That's a great point. So
Yeah.
I think that's really, and I love the fact that you said, let's keep yourself top of mind. So, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit further here, but if you recall, the nomination package is really important. So I know we're at the top of our time. I just want to wrap up here by saying, Siobhan, you were 2019 Woman of Inspiration, Inclusive and Diversity Award recipient, and also a new Universal Women's Network National Ambassador. We are so incredibly proud to have your voice, to have your leadership, and for everything that you're bringing to the table. For those that are watching that are considering, should I apply? Should I complete that nomination package? I want you to tell me what you shared with everybody, which blew me away, of what happened to you post winning the award this year.
Oh my goodness. Post winning the award, so many different things. I was on the cover of like Women Entrepreneurs magazine. Have been asked to sit on panelists. I've been doing more speaking engagements, paid as well as volunteered. Let's see, top 100 Black women in Canada nominated for that. Articles. People have come to me. So now the top 10 influential women to follow in 2020 by Insights Success, and that should be coming out, they said Monday. So we'll look forward to seeing that. Yeah, and the Butterfly Ladies, that also launched too, which was a mentoring program. I heard from a lot of women that I was mentoring, you know, they didn't have enough money, they didn't have enough access to programs. So me being a learning and development professional, had a whole bunch of stuff. So now I was able to provide that for them. So just like tons of opportunities, tons of networking opportunities. And I met like phenomenal women through the Women of Inspiration. So that is probably the best part of this network group, is just being able to meet and associate with other really powerful women that are all dedicated to moving the dial for women further and making change.
Well, thank you. I just want to say it was such a beautiful surprise, because I think that people, when they're thinking about it, and this is one of the conversations that I have, it's stepping into the spotlight, asking for more, owning your space is really hard. It's easy to say it, but to take action on it is a whole other thing. And I think that more we talk about all the wonderful things that can happen when you do that, to build the credibility, to use your voice for good so others can follow, that is the main objective. So thank you so much, Siobhan. It's been a pleasure. And we look forward to great things in store in the future. So thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Great. Thanks, Monica.
Bye-bye.